The bravest animals in the land are Captain Beaky and his band. That's timid toad, reckless rat, artful owl, and fatty bat. March to the woodland singing songs that tell how they have righted wrongs. Once hissing Sid, an evil snake, kept the woodland folk awake in fear and trembling every night in case he gave someone a bite. Said artful owl, we'll lie in wait, and one of us will be the bait. Said Captain Beaky, have no fear, for I alone will volunteer. No, make it me, said reckless rat. I'll stand there in my reckless hat. When hissing Sid picks up my trail, I'll just lasso him with my tail. Oh, a good idea, said timid toad. We'll hide a long way down the road, and when you've overcome resistance, we'll rush along to your assistance. Said Fatty Bat, I've got a wheeze. I'll fly and hide up in the trees. If hissing Sid should slither by, I'll drop a boulder from the sky. Said artful owl, the idea's sound. How will you lift it off the ground? Poor Fatty Bat just scratched his head. I hadn't thought of that, he said. Said owl, the rest of us hold back. There's only one that he'll attack. Said timid toad, I like your plan. Good luck, said owl, for you're the man. So timid toad, his eyes are popping, into the woodland night went hopping. Captain Beaky waved his hand, followed with his trusted band. That's artful owl and reckless rat, and above the trees flew Batty Bat. Stop, said Beaky, I hear squeaking. It's Batty Bat, said owl, he's speaking. It's all in code, said reckless rat. Said owl, I'll just decipher that. A dash, a dot, too short, too long. I rather hope you've got it wrong. It reads, can clearly see the road. Hissing Sid has captured Toad. Quick, man, said Beaky, no delay. You mustn't let him get away. And leaping off, said, follow me, and ran headfirst into a tree. Dot, 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 squeaked Batty Bat. Said Beaky, quick, decipher that. Said reckless rat, perhaps we're gaining. No, said owl, he says it's raining. Oh, how they ran to save poor Toad, for they must find that snake's abode. Guided by old Batty Bat, dot, dot, go this way, dash, go that. Then hissing Sid's lair they espied. Were they too late? Was he inside? Said reckless rat, I'll get a pole and stop him going down his hole. Then into sight the snake came hopping, right past his hole, no sign of stopping. Said reckless rat, that's rather funny, there's something jumping in his tummy. Said Captain Beaky, well, I'm blown. Hissing Sid has swallowed Toad. And as the snake hopped out of sight, off they chased into the night. At last they found him, tired and dizzy, and pulled out Toad, who said, where is he? For left alone, I felt quite sick, and hopped into a hollow stick. Said owl, a clever step to take. You jumped into that slippery snake. That was brave of Toad, said rat. That's just my sort of plan, said bat. Said Captain Beaky to his men, I will not see hissing Sid again. And as they marched off down the road, they sang in praise of timid Toad. Above them flew old Batty Bat, with his wings stretched out quite flat. Owl's idea, that clever fella, to have a flying umbrella. The bravest animals in the land are Captain Beaky and his band. That's timid Toad, reckless rat, artful owl, and Batty Bat. March to the woodland singing songs that tell how they have righted wrongs. Wait for me. With spotted manly chest, lived in a wet and squelchy bog, and always looked depressed. He couldn't get a froggy date, although he'd try each night.
But when he'd squelch behind a girl, she'd just leap off in fright. A wallflower at the local hop, he'd dance till dawn alone. 2, 3, 4, quick, quick, slow, quick, plop, 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 then squelch his way back home. Reflecting in his private pool on his unhappy fate, he wondered why on earth it was he couldn't get a date. His friends all knew the reason why, but friends don't like to tell. A frog who's got and doesn't know a wet and boggy smell. A frog who's got a wet and boggy smell.
Could I have this next dance, please? Oh, you're taken, I see. Well, what about you, Matt? Oh well, dance of my own, I suppose.
Penniless, franchement, called Jacques, in bare boots and belted mag, strode idly down an empty drain, protected against the winds and the rain. When from a grating in the street, a cigarette fell at his feet, and in surprise he cried, "Mon Dieu, it is my favorite brand, disque bleu." Ma foi, these are très forts, he said, inhaling deep the hand glowed red. A smell he thought was just le drain, was gas escaping from le main. La grande explosion. Au revoir, Jacques, in bare boots and belted mag. And now he has gone to the great mouse hole in the sky, where mountains of duchies stretch away as far as the eye can see. Excusez-moi.
Where?
Which way to the Roquefort, s'il vous plaît? Peut-être.
But it's no less important for that. It's an insect resplendent in top hat and tails and inscribed to Nathanial Gnat. He departed this world, umbrella well furled, when his back's tangled up with some trees. A strange way to die for a gnat who could tie a cravat with such elegant ease. Some witnesses said though he fell on his head, he could have been saved by his act. But smart to the last, and though falling fast, he removed it in case it went flat. Now thanks to his style and that brave marble smile, we find when with clothes we're impressed that we tend to apply, and now you know why, the expression is nattily dressed. Ain't it got style? Butchers the Weasle and Stoke. That's Cockney for hat and his coat and all that, which accounts for the smile on his throat. Now, thanks to his style and that brave marble smile, we find when with clothes we're impressed that we tend to apply, and now you know why, the expression is nattily dressed.
The expression is nattily dressed.
The church bell strikes the hour of noon in the village on the hill, and across the fields and meadows echoes its thin silver note to the ears of Wilfred Weasle, seated at his artist's easel as he waits for inspiration in his floppy hat and coat, brush in hand and palette ready as it's been since 8:30, empty canvas indicating inspiration sleeping late. But though the bell notes fade forever, conjured up and left behind in a blinding flash, a vision clear as crystal in his mind, with all the style of Leonardo and daring use of green and blue, deft strokes tell a moving story. Gone to lunch and back at 2.
Dilys the Dachshund hated snow because her middle was so low, and once when it was really snowing, she only had her tail showing. So in her woolly winter clothes, she practiced walking on her toes, and with an anxious little grin, went for a stroll with Stomakin. And in the middle of her walk was spotted by a talent hawk, who cried as soon as he had seen her, he knew she'd make a ballerina. He'd christen her Dilys Barkova. One day she'd dance with Rudy Rover. Dilys, thrilled at thoughts of fame, could hardly wait to change her name, and quickly had the contract signed before the hawk could change his mind. She rushed back home to break the news and bought some tiny ballet shoes. She went to London on the train in search of fortune and acclaim, and after weeks of leaps and bounds and back legs stretched with taller hounds, Dilys got a lucky break to play a cygnet in Swan Lake.
Back leg above the ear, Dilys. She's good, isn't she, Rudy?
She danced so well with grace and speed, some said she should have got the lead, and when she did a pas de deux, everyone applauded her. Till Dilys, heady with success, performed impromptu arabesques underneath the royal box, where sat the prince, a handsome fox. Then jumping up on pointed toes, she spun away across the snow. The prince leapt forward with surprise, and raised some glasses to his eyes. For Dilys, spinning like a top, had spun so far she couldn't stop. Musicians paused and frowned uncertain. Stage hands whispered, "Drop the curtain!" But wait! The prince stood up and clapped, and then her shoe elastic snapped. Disaster! As high up in the air there flew a tiny silken ballet shoe, up towards the royal box where stood the prince, the handsome fox. He caught it in midair, still warm, kissed it, and a star was born.
So, dear Dachshunds, be of cheer. It may well snow for you next year.
Search round in the garden, you're bound to find a snail. Perhaps you've always wondered why they leave a sticky trail. Some people think it's left for friends to show which way they're going. Well, that is not the reason why they leave a trail showing. The answer's plain, they cannot see an inch beyond their noses or recognise the rockery from a bed of roses. And snails have no memory, which gets them in a mess. That's why they wear their houses, to remember their address. And so they leave a sticky trail, strange as it may seem. Not to show the way they've gone, it's to remind them where they've been.
Baby owl, whose name was Blanche, perched bravely on a narrow branch and wondered whether she should try to jump off and attempt to fly. She bravely counted up to 10, and then she counted 10 again. She found she couldn't fly, and lay there, looking at the sky. It's lucky that branch, said she, was on the ground and not the tree. Then off she ran and flapped her wings and said, these are most awkward things, for though I skip and jump quite high, I'm still no nearer to the sky. And falling down, she gave a howl and wished she'd never been an owl. And finally her mother found her and put a great big wing around her and said, dear Blanche, don't be upset. You haven't grown your feathers yet.
Save for the humming of the bees and raindrops falling through the tree, the wood was silent as a grave, while shafts of sunlight made a brave attempt to pierce the velvet gloom, as lonely as an empty room. Alone was I, but not afraid. The friend I'd been with must have strayed, for though I called, no answer came. And so I called and called again, still no answer came. And so I played a splendid game in the bracken wet and thick, with my favorite walking stick. And then a voice called out quite near, "So there you are, old chap, come here." And sitting there upon a log was my best friend, who said, "Good dog."